Hello everyone, welcome to whatifissei God Optimus Prime Sacred Gear Part 2. Before we start, please go support ShagaMatrix for writing that awesome fanfic. Now let's begin. The mission. I had changed the part where Issei serves Rias, but instead the pieces are injected. First of all, I do not own the pics, vids and gifs, and second, I will make Issei and Rias develop a bond and not a quick love. Location: Issei's mansion, Tuesday, 5 a.m. Issei was in his king-size bed with Asia snuggling on his chest, and he nudged her to wake up, and she yawned, and she left the bedroom for him to get out as well. Issei is in his gym with Wing Saber and are crunching 80-pound weights on the sides of the pole, and after he was done he showers, puts his uniform on and heads downstairs. Issei: "Hey everyone." Asia smiles at him while making breakfast. "Oh, I'm fine Issei." Leo Breaker: "I'm good Issei." Issei: "When we come back from school we will be having a new housemate." Wing Saber: "Oh, and who is it?" Issei: "It's Rias from our school, finishes his food, well gotta go see ya," and Asia follows suit. They get in the Durango and leave. Hyoudou Academy. They park in the lot and they get to class. Time skip. Diba comes to the class and picks up Issei, and they say that they are being called for something, and it was about them having a meeting with Surziches. They both reach the ORC, and Issei sees the Devil King in the room with the ORC sitting on the couch with Grafia behind him. Issei: "Hey Rias," and everyone else. He waved at them and they smiled and waved back, and he sat on the couch in front of Surziches and began talking. Surziches: "Hello Issei, how are you?" He held out his hand and Issei shook it. Issei: "So what is this meeting about?" Surziches: "Surziches, my wife here had informed me that when Rias had reincarnated you, they were ejected from your body, and why did it do that?" Issei: "Well, I might as well show you what had caused them to be ejected." Issei's chest transforms into Optimus's chest, and he opens it to reveal the matrix of leadership. The devils in the room felt the amount of power radiating from the object, and it made all of them sweat and not breathe properly. As Issei closes high chest and it transforms back to normal, and all of them could breathe again, and Surziches spoke. Surziches rubs his forehead. "What is that thing?" Optimus: "That is the matrix of leadership, a powerful artifact that is used to power the Star Harvester. It can also be used to reactivate a Transformer's spark and is a fragment of Primus's power." Surziches looked to see Issei's right arm appear in a red glow, and his hair changes from brown to red with blue tips and has yellow eyes. Surziches: "Who are you?" Optimus: "I am Optimus Prime, leader of the Autobots, known as the Autobot Supreme Commander, and have come from another universe and the one who had killed the Red Dragon Emperor, and do not be afraid, I have no intentions of hurting anyone." Devil King Lucifer. Surziches was shocked to hear that the Red Dragon was killed by a robot from another universe. Surziches: "Well, it's an honor to meet you, Lord Optimus." Optimus: "Please no honorifics, I am the same like my host here." Surziches: "Well, thank you Optimus and Issei for getting my sister out of that marriage." He bows. Issei: "No problem, she is a friend of mine, and I hate to see others in displeased at something that they don't like." Surziches: "Oh, and Riser said that you and him had made a bet and the Phoenix family ask if you will collect the prizes." Issei: "There will be no need for that, I already have my riches and not need a peerage as I cannot turn into a devil." Surziches looks at Issei and smiles at him for his generosity towards the devils. Surziches: "Wait, before I leave, wasn't there another robot that was in the war?" Issei: "Oh, you mean Galvatron." A purple light glows on his left arm and a gauntlet that was white with red jewels and gray spikes by the elbow, and his hair changes from red to white with Rex tips instead of blue with red eyes. Issei: "This is my other sacred gear, the Decepticon dividing gear." Galvatron: "Hello there fleshlings, I am Galvatron, leader of the Decepticons and known as the Decepticon Emperor of Destruction, from the same universe as my brother, and I had almost killed the White Dragon Emperor, and if anyone pisses me and my host off, we will eliminate any kind of threat," he said with pride, putting a little fear into the devils in the room. Surziches: "Well, Lord Galvatron, we have no ill intentions to your host, and thank you Issei for taking my sister into your humble abode." He stuttered as he felt a bit of fear strike him, and he leaves with Grafia, and Issei looks to his left gauntle. Issei: "Galvatron, you really like to put pride in your title." Galvatron: "Well, of course I and you have pride as Cybertronians, and being half evil has its perks and our enemy are." Issei: "Yeah, I know, and Optimus is also neutral, so try and starts to feel pain in his arm." Okay, maybe not." Galvatron: "HMPH, trying to compare me to good, ha, what a joke," and the link gets cut, and so does Optimus's link cut off, and his hair returns to its normal brown. Issei looks to Rias and the others. Issei: "What is there, something on my face?" Rias: "Well, no, it's just that. What does Galvatron mean by when he said that you are evil and good?" Issei: "Well, what he means is that in their universe Galvatron presents evil, tyranny, hate for good and lust for more power, and Optimus shows peace, encouragement and hate for evil, but still somehow they managed to get along after 9 million years." Rias: "They lived that long?" Issei: "Yes, I have half of their lifespan, which is 4.5 to 5 million years until I die." Rias and the others were surprised at how long Issei's lifespan is. Issei: Well then shall we head to class, and Riaz hope you packed your stuff by the end of school we will be leaving, see ya and he leaves. Akeno. My, you already got feelings for him how cute she giggles. Riaz. Shut up Akeno we're going to class she stands up and they all go to class. In Issei's class. When Issei enters he sees two fists ready to hit him and he grabs them and pulls the fists on his sides of his shoulders and makes the two hit their heads. Issei. Oh if it isn't the perverted duo, what were you two doing that for may I ask? Aldies. We heard that you are in the ORC with the two queens and that annoys us. Lasses. Yeah and the mascot is also in the club, did you blackmail them into joining? Issei. First of all yes I am in their club, second I did not blackmail any of them, so you better stop asking me these futile questions of yours and stop staring at Asia and Aika or else cracks knuckles Imma beat yo ass so hard that you'd wish your mother never opened her legs, you got that. The two nodded at him and the girls were fantasizing about him dominating them and the math teacher arrived and some students groaned except for Asia, Aika and Issei, as they were taught by Issei about these things as they improved by a lot. Time skip after school. Issei had gone to the ORC to see Riaz and they were bags on the floor in the ORC and Issei greeted her and she greeted back and Issei with his immense strength could easily carry and he puts it in the car and he said goodbye to Daisuke and Aika but before she left she asked Issei when they can cruise again and he said Sunday night and they left drifting out of the school gate. Issei. Okay let's go and here is Asia my friend. Asia. Hello Asia Argento a pleasure to meet you. Riaz. It's a pleasure to meet you to Asia Riaz Gremory a friend of Issei. Issei. Well let's go. They left and they arrived to Issei's mansion and she was amazed at what a mansion he has. Riaz. Issei what do you do to get such a big place like this? Issei. I drag race in Tokyo in the Pro League to get this. Riaz. And how much is the prize? Issei. Will you be surprised if I told you the prize she turns her head left and right okay well the prize is $1 million as the prize which in yen is estimated at 140 million yen every 2 weeks. Ria's jaw looked like a big hole when she heard the amount and she compassed herself as Issei gave a tour of the house and gave Riaz a room, but she said that she would rather sleep with him and he says it's fine and he slept with Riaz and Asia that night. Chapter 14. Issei is asleep in his bed and is pulled into Galvatron's hell mindscape and sees Galvatron sitting on his throne with his hand covering his mouth. Issei. What's up Galvatron? Galvatron. Issei he said in a serious tone which made Issei turn serious. Galvatron. You are still weak and have not reached me and Optimus's power level yet and I sense that there will be a threat much more powerful than us. Issei. So what do you suggest that we do about it? Galvatron. We all need to train to be able to defeat any threat bigger than us. Issei. What do you mean? Galvatron. That we should be able to reach even greater heights and have absolute power. Issei. So you are saying that we at home should be training and why is Optimus not in the conversation? Galvatron. Because you're about to wake up stay calm when you open your eyes. Issei opens his eyes and sees a lump under his blanket and sees a naked Riaz. Issei. Riaz why are you here? Galvatron Link, what did I tell you Dumbus? Riaz then wakes up from Issei's voice and she looks at him. Riaz. Good morning Issei and she yawned and she stretched her arms up which made her boobs bounce and it made Issei blush a bit and she then put her arms under her breasts which made them look bigger. Riaz. Watcha lookin' at handsome. Issei. A beautiful princess with a body of a goddess and when he said that she blushed and she put her breasts on his chiseled chest. Riaz. Maybe we can do something naughty while we're here what do you think she said in a seducing tone. Issei. I would love to that, but we have to get ready for school he was interrupted by Asia opening the door. Asia. Issei it's time to get up for school. Issei. Asia can you please just wait a moment. Asia. Issei what's going on in there she opens the door and sees a naked Riaz on his bed about to kiss him. Asia. I'm also going to take off my clothes as she pulled her shirt up and jumped into the bed and Issei was shouting her not to do that, but she was going to practice what she preached. Small time skip. Issei, Asia and Riaz had come to the dinner table and saw Leobreaker and Wingsaber at the table. Issei. Riaz I forgot to introduce you to my friends here, the boy in blonde hair and looks like a cat is Leobreaker and the guy in Air Force uniform is Wingsaber. Hey come to greet Riaz and she asked why their name are like that and they went to the backyard and they. Wingsaber and Leobreaker. Transform. Wingsaber. Oh yeah Wingsaber is 15 meters tall. Leobreaker. Rower Leobreaker is 12 meters tall in beast mode. Riaz was extremely surprised when she saw them transform and then they both turn into their bot forms. Wingsaber. Impressed huh? Riaz. Why yes, she stuttered. Leobreaker. What's wrong Riaz? Riaz. It's your power it's incredible. Wingsaber. But we are not as powerful as Issei that's for sure. Riaz. How much are you holding back? Issei. 190%. Why? Riaz. But how are you able to have that much power she shouted him. Issei. If I use my full power the earth would have been blown out of existence. Riaz. Okay well you should have told me then she pouted and Leobreaker and Wingsaber transformed back to their human forms. Riaz. Can you also transform Issei? Issei. Yeah, I have 6 forms, and I'll show them to everyone later. She then walks with Asia a bit angry, and he doesn't know why. Issei. Let's out and tired sigh man, women are scary. Wingsaber. Well yeah, and you have 2 to deal with, hahaha. Leobreaker. You're a player. Issei. Yeah, we'll see ya. And they drove in the Durango as it's now the car to go to school. Time skip at school. Issei, Riaz and Asia had arrived at school, and the boys were still cursing him, and he just ignored them and went to class. Time skip break. Kiba had called Issei to the ORC for a meeting with Riaz, and he leaves with Asia. Issei. So what's happening this time? Kiba. Dunno, but we'll see. The 3 enter the club room and see Riaz in her chair with Akeno on her side and Kaneko on the couch. Issei. Sup Kaneko. Kaneko. I'm fine Issei. Issei. Riaz, what is this meeting about? Riaz. Well, we are gonna have a meeting at your house. Issei. Why? Riaz. Because the club is having its annual cleaning and we don't have any other place. Issei. Okay, and is there anything else you need of me? Riaz. Yes, and it is for you to have a contract with the Gremory family, and so can Asia if that's okay with you. Issei. So explain what is in the contract. Riaz. You and Asia will just have to sign your names, surnames, any offers you would make. When meetings are in the family you should be there, and that's all. Issei and Asia make a link in their minds. Issei link. Asia, will you agree to this? Asia. Yeah, I think it will be a good idea since in this world other factions might try and get you for your power, and I don't want that. Issei link. Galvatron. Optimus, what do you guys think? Galvatron. If we agree to this we would be under their protection, not like we need it, but as they deceive us, then I will electrocute them and burn them with my lightning and fire. Optimus. Okay, it's better to do this because we will have allies instead of enemies, and if they keep their words then it's fine. Issei. So we all agree with this? All 3. Fine then, alright, yes. Issei severed the link and he said. Issei. Fine, we agree, we'll sign the contract at my home for this meeting. Riaz. Thank you Issei, now you can go. Issei. See you later Riaz and everyone else. They all smile at him and wave to him and he left with Asia. Time skip after school. Issei said that Asia should drive Riaz back home as he had to do something. Issei. Transform. He had a purple glow from his body and transformed into Galvatron's jet mode. Issei. Well, time to go, and he flew at Mk.2 in the sky. Chapter 15. The slash between is when 2 voices are combined. Issei was flying in the sky in Galvatron's jet mode and dived into the sea and caught fish and flew back to his home and saw that Riaz and the ORC were at his doorstep and was hovering above them and transformed into his bot form, and everyone went into their battle stances, but Issei spoke. Issei. Galvatron. Sup guys. They recognized that voice and stood down. Riaz. Issei, where have you been? Issei. Galvatron. I went out fishing, of course we ran out, and he had a bright purple glow and transformed into his human form with his white and purple tipped hair. Issei. So you're here for the meeting. Riaz. Yes, and would you mind opening? Issei. Sure. He opens the door and saw they went in and headed to the lounge and gave them some food and snacks, and then Asia came in with a book that labeled photo books and he told her to put it away, but she didn't listen and she showed everyone pictures. Riaz. Oh, look at Issei, he's so cute as a baby. Akeno. Oh my, probably his kids will look like that in the future. Kaneko. He didn't know that you were a perv before. Issei had tried to take it away, but Kaneko with her strength just flicked his forehead and flew into his backyard. Riaz and Akeno were surprised at how much strength Kaneko had grown, and Issei came back from the backyard with a bruise on his face. Issei. What was that for? Kaneko. That was for you being a perv before. Issei. Yeah, I stopped that long ago. Kaneko. Oh, you sure? And she turned into her Shirin mode and pushed her now big breasts on his chest. Her looks ever since the no pain no gain chapter. Issei. Why yes, now can you please stop? She moved away and he let out a sigh and saw Riaz with a little angry face and he was about to say something, but Kiba called him. Kiba. Issei, what is this? Issei sat next to Kiba and looked at the picture. Issei. Oh, if I remember, that was my friend Irina and me at a church. Why? Kiba. Do you know what is that sword behind you? He said in a cold tone and stood up and left, and Issei went outside to go get him. Issei. Hey Kiba, where you going? He grabbed his shoulder. Kiba just moved Issei's hand off his shoulder and just left, and he went back inside. Issei. Riaz, what's wrong with Kiba? He asked with worry, and Leobreaker, Wingsaber and Asia came into the lounge and sat down. Riaz. Well, there is something that I didn't tell you guys about Kiba's past. Riaz. Kiba before becoming a devil was a human that was named Isaiah and was taken by the church for the Holy Sword Project under the supervision of Valper Galileo, see who could wield the fragments of the Holy Sword Excalibur. But when the project had failed, he had just discarded the other children and he seemed them useless, so he was going to kill them by giving them a poisonous gas, and Kiba was the only survivor and ran away from the church, and when he was about to die, I had found him and reincarnated him as my knight and has pledged his life to be the knight of the House of Gremory. Issei. That bastard, when I find him I'll make him pay. Leobreaker and Wingsaber also had anger on their faces as well, but Asia calmed them down. Leobreaker? Is he still alive? He is. Yes he is, and we don't have any information about him. Issei. Tomorrow I'll try and see him. And where is the contract? He is. It is right here, and a red magic circle appears on the table and a paper is shown with 2 red colored pens on the left and right. He is. All we need is your signatures and it's done. Issei's signature. Asia's signature is just the Italian actress Asia Argento's one. Google it. He is. Okay, this will be sent to my brother and it will be official that you will be part of the Gremory family. Issei. Yep, and looks at his watch. Oh Akeno, Kaneko, should I drop you guys? Akeno. No, that would be alright, or do you want me to stay? As she put her face close to his, and Issei looked to Leobreaker and Wingsaber, but they just left him and were laughing at his predicament. Issei mind, traitors, he shouted in his mind. Issei. Oh no, you should go back to your home. Akeno. Oh well, I was hoping to spend time with my underclassmen, and she went out the door. Issei. Kaneko. Kaneko. Nah, I like to walk freely, see ya, and she left to walk with Akeno. Rias. So Issei, why isn't there any more photos in the book? Issei was just quiet and Riaz looked at him knowing that she should not ask that question again and saw him heading to the bathroom. Bathroom in the 2nd floor. Issei went to take a bath and sat on the stool, was washing his hair, and when he was done he felt 2 big things pressing against his back and saw Riaz completely naked and he was freaking out a bit, but then she started to talk. Riaz. Issei, sorry if I'm asking this, but what happened to your parents? Issei froze when he heard the word parents, but he knew when she asked worryingly he had to tell her. Issei. Fine, I'll tell you. He breathed in and out. This started when I was 7 years old, when my parents and I were on a hiking trip in the mountains on Kuo, and I ran into the forest and saw a man being eaten by a spider-like creature, and she was going to attack me. I ran and dodged the shot from her, and ran as I heard my parents shouting my name, and I found them, but the creature came to where me and my parents were and was going to eat me. But they both sacrificed themselves for me to live and were eaten by that thing, and I felt anger and sadness, and that's when I awakened Optimus, my sacred gear, and he lent me his power, and I killed the creature and ran home, and that's how I survived, thanks to Optimus. He finished, and saw Riaz with tears in her eyes, and she put Issei in her boobs and he was embarrassed until she spoke. Riaz. Crying, I promised to protect you with everything that I got. Issei widened his eyes as she said that, and he looked up and held her face. Issei. Thank you, Riaz, and don't worry, I'll be the one to protect you this time. When he said that, Riaz kissed him, and he kissed her too, but she was fighting, but he won in the competition for dominance, and they parted. Issei then saw Asia with some tears dropping from her eyes, and he hugged her too, and she also kissed him, and they parted, and he was surprised, and so was Riaz, and they all had a bath together, and Riaz and Asia were asking Issei, who has a better body. They put his hands on their boobs bit, while they were still shouting each other. They saw Issei had a little nosebleed, and he then fell unconscious, and they finished bathing him and they went to sleep. Unknown place. Fiba is seen in a park looking up in the sky, and it begins to rain. He cries in sadness. Fiba. I will destroy those fragments and kill you, Valper, you bastard, he shouted in the rain. Chapter 16. Issei woke and saw Riaz and Asia holding him tight, and he woke them up, and he went to do his workout with Wingsaber joining him, and they come out and see the others eating, and they joined them and left, but this time Asia went with a Ferrari 488 GTB to school, while Issei and Riaz were in the LBWK Challenger, and while they were driving and they went to school, but when they arrived Kiba wasn't there and they went to class. Time skip. After school, Riaz said she had to go to a devil request and Issei and Asia left to go home, but they felt 2 presences in his mansion and they were holy, and they parked their cars in the garage and went inside and saw 2 girls sitting on his couch, and one of them, description time, and the other girl was, in a long time, Issei. Issei. Ha, who are you? Ooh, how do you not remember me? Issei was thinking, and then it hit him. Issei. Irina, that's you. I thought you were a boy when we were kids. Irina. Yep, and why did you think that I was a boy? And this is my friend Zenobia Corda. She bowed and sat back on the couch. Issei just lifted Irina by her waist and he began crying. She was embarrassed, but Issei began crying. Issei. I miss so much. Irina. Issei, you can stop crying. And where is your parents? Issei. They're dead, Irina, and she had tears escaping from her eyes. Irina. Oh no, what happened? She said in also crying voice. Issei stopped crying as Galvatron divided his power to calm him down. Irina. Issei, what did I just hear? Issei. Oh, it's just my sacred gear. Irina. Wait, doesn't the White Dragon Emperor have that ability? Issei. Okay, let me explain. After explaining about the Great War and about the 2 bots that were in the war, how Optimus defeated the RDE Red Dragon Emperor, and the white one will be known as the WDE, and Galvatron left the WDE alive, and how they were sealed for 500 years, and how he awakened them. Issei. And that's about it. Irina and Zenobia were surprised at how the story was. Irina. Can you show us your sacred gears? Issei had 2 lights on his arm, one being crimson red and the other dark purple, and 2 gauntlets appear on his arms. Issei. This is the boosted gear of the Autobot Supreme Commander, and the one on my left is the dividing gear of the Decepticon Emperor of Destruction, so their names are the boosted gear of Supremacy and the dividing gear of Destruction. The gauntlets then glowed in their colors, and two voices were heard. Optimus. Hello friend of Issei, I am Issei's first sacred gear, I am Optimus Prime, leader of the Autobots and the commander of Supremacy. She waved at the gauntlet, but Zenobia bowed, but Optimus told her to not bow. Galvatron. I am Galvatron, leader of the Decepticons and the Emperor of Destruction, and I am his second sacred gear. They both felt holy and evil energy resonating from the gauntlets, and they said goodbye to Issei and left. Rias came back and she asked what happened, and she said that two people from the church will be arriving tomorrow at their school, and they all had a bath, ate with the others and went to sleep. Issei was then pulled into the beach mindscape that belonged to Optimus, and then saw Galvatron and Optimus sitting on their thrones. Galvatrons. Optimus's. Issei. Yo Optimus, Galvatron. Optimus. Oh Issei, we have to talk about something, and it's something that regards something. Galvatron left. Issei. What is it? Galvatron gripped on his throne and stood up. Galvatron. That dragon is alive and we can sense it is awakened. Issei. When was this? Optimus. We had received the pulse of energy from last week and it has grown strong over the years. Issei. And what is this person? Optimus had made a hologram from his eyes and a picture of a guy with wings that were blue. Galvatron. Angry, those wings, I should have ripped them off instead of burning them, he said in a demonic and evil voice that made Issei scared and Optimus flinch. Issei. So he is the WD? Optimus. Yes, and here are his details. Name. Volley Lucifer. Age. 18. Race. Half human and half devil. Family. Descendant of Lucifer and cast out from his home for being human. Sacred gear. Divine dividing gear, the soul of the WD. Abilities. Can divide a person's power in half every 10 seconds. Title. Strongest WD in history. Issei. So from what I can see, this dragon will want to come for revenge after his rival was defeated and killed and is trying to locate me. Great, just bucking great. He crunched his hand into a fist in demonic voice mixed with Galvatron and has a dark purple aura surrounding him. Issei. I will kill him and make him feel pain, and if he dare tries to harm Rias and my family and friends, he will be destroyed by my hands. Galvatron divided Issei by 1 because dividing by 1 leaves a person with only 25% of their power and render them weak, and he fell unconscious in the mindscape. Optimus. He has already gained your evil mind and body, he will be feared by dragon and gods. Galvatron. Laughs maniacally, this boy will be the ultimate being of the universe and will put fear into the hearts of the world and supernatural world, and they faded away. Issei then woke up to Rias and Asia naked on his sides and saw that it was the day that the two of the people from the church would come to his school. Issei. Sai well, hope to see you. Arena. The fight between Arena versus Issei and Zenobia versus Kiba. Chapter 17. You all know his routine and I do not own pics, vids or gifs. Issei got put of bed and ate breakfast with his family and left with Asia Rias with a Durango and went to class. Time skip. After class, Issei and Asia were called to the club and stood behind the couch that Rias was sitting on, and the two girls that Issei met last night came through those doors and sat down on their couches. Rias. So what brings two exorcists want in my territory? Zenobia. Well, we have come here to tell you to stay away from our business. Rias. And what is this business of yours? Arena then came into the conversation. Arena. Well, what my friend is saying is that we have been sent here by the church to gather 3 stolen fragments of the holy sword Excalibur, and it was stolen by the cadre class fallen angel Cacabiel. Then Galvatron spoke. Galvatron. I think I remember hearing some call that name in the Great War while I was fighting the WDE, and they say that he was a warmonger. Arena. Well, yes, and that is why we said that the devils should stay away. Zenobia. And they have said that the devils are involved. Rias. We would not want to have any contact nor speaking terms with any fallen, and if you think that we are involved them you are making a mistake, she finished. Zenobia. Well, we will have no choice then to eliminate you, even if you are the Devil King's little sister. Rias had her eyes with her POD in her eyes, and she was about to burst until Issei put his hand on her shoulder, and she calmed down. Rias. Fine, we will not interfere with your work. Zenobia. Good, and as she left she looked to Asia. Zenobia. Wait, aren't you Asia Argento? Asia. Yes, I am, she said in a normal tone. Arena. What, no way, she is the holy maiden. Zenobia. You have fallen so far to just be a devil, no worry, I will kill you, so you can have the Lord's forgiveness. Asia didn't get to say anything as Zenobia was going to slash her. Issei used the power piercer to block the attack, and his hair changed from his brown hair to red, with blue tips and yellow eyes, holding Asia close to his chest. Issei. Optimus. I will not allow that to happen, you will not harm my family, and if you do I will kill you if you dare. As a golden aura surrounded him, and it made Zenobia back away a bit. Zenobia. So you will go against the whole church. And Issei changed back to normal, still holding power piercer in his right hand on the hilt. Issei. OPLS, I could destroy the whole supernatural world, and you think that one church is going to kill me? Ha, what a joke. As the last part sounded like Galvatron. Kibba. Stop. And when Riaz was gonna stop this, she sees Kibba leaning on the door. Zenobia. And who are you? Kibba. I am your superior, it's nice to meet you. Riaz. Kibba. Location behind ORC Club. Bekeno put a barrier around the field as Issei was in front of Arena and Kibba was in front of Zenobia. Riaz. On guard, begin, she shouted. Issei versus Arena. Arena. I can't believe my childhood friend has become a devil. Don't worry Issei, I'll cleanse you in the Lord's Prayer. She jumped up in the air to do a slash, but Issei had disappeared and was going to slash her with the Sword of Judgment, but she deflected it with her Excalibur mimic and she was kicked by Issei in her gut and hit the wall, and she stood up and ran at him with her sword high. Issei. Didn't expect you to be so good with swords, huh, as they clashed their swords and push each other's blades. Arena. I also didn't expect you to be so good too, but that isn't going to stop me, and Issei pushed her sword and she skidded 5 meters away and he shot at her in a boost of speed and downed her to the ground. Issei. I really want to finish this, so let's finish this, and he summoned his boosted gear and shouted. Issei. Cyber key power, and the others saw that they were in a barren land and saw Issei's aura shoot up into the sky and a silver light shone and a cyber key shot into his gauntlet. The reason being why I'm using the lower class cyber key is that so Arena will only be hit but won't die. The cannons from his super mode appeared from his back and he began to charge up with blue lightning and shot out 2 crimson red blasts to Arena. She got hit on her right side and there was a big explosion, but she was fine. The Keno. And the winner is Issei. Issei. Puts fingers on neck, she's fine. Asia, can you please heal her? She ran to Arena's side and her rings appear on her fingers and a green glow is emitted from her hands as she began healing her. Issei. I wonder how Kibba is faring. Kibba versus Zenobia. Kibba began laughing and this confused Zenobia. Zenobia. What are you laughing for? Kibba. The thing that I wanted to destroy is right in front of me, and he stopped laughing and summons a katana like Galvatron's and he swung it and it made a shock wave making Riaz and Akeno surprised at his power. Kibba. So shall we begin? Zenobia grabbed the wrapped sword on her back. Zenobia. This is Excalibur destruction, my fragment that will defeat you. Riaz. On guard, begin. Zenobia vanished and went to strike Kibba on his right as a surprise attack, but Kibba smirked and held his hand in a clockwise rotation and stopped her sword surprising her, and he put force on the hilt of the katana and aimed the blade in the air pushing her into the air, and she saw Kibba disappeared from her bird's eye view and felt a presence above her and saw Kibba going to do a axe kick and she crossed her arms to block the blow and hit the ground with a loud thud and Kibba flew back down to the ground and she tried to get up, but Kibba put the katana's tip to her throat, she gulped and she put her hands up in surrender and he won the match. Akeno. Kibba wins the fight, so Issei and Kibba, why this duel? Kibba went to Issei and the group. Kibba. I apologize for leaving the club and making you guys worry, he bowed. Issei. Oh no Kibba, it's alright, remember when we were training we're brothers, he smiled and Kibba gave him a bro hug. Kibba. I would also like to apologize to you Riaz for leaving, I'm sorry. Riaz. Hugs Kibba. Don't worry Kibba, it's fine, you don't have to apologize, but there is something that you have to accept. Kibba looked at his master and she let him go. Riaz. Her hand covered in the POD, you will need your 500 beatings for not returning and ignoring the club. I made it short cause guys don't like having long ass whoopins, it hurts like a bitch. Kibba. But can't I just have a shorter amount? Issei. Ha 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 ha, good luck Prince Charming, feel pain on your butt after this. Kibba. Shut up asshole. Chapter 18. After the fight with the church girls and Riaz left with Akeno to go to a meeting with Sona. Issei. Arena, can I ask you something? Arena. Gets up after Asia healed her. Yeah, what is it? Issei. Do you have a place to stay at? Arena. Well, we stay at the abandoned church on the hill. Why? Issei. Well, you ain't gonna be staying there my friend, and you will be staying with me, and that includes Zenobia. Arena. Really? Issei. Yes. Zenobia. We don't need help from anyone, she said with a stoic face. Issei. Well then, do you have money? Zenobia. No, because Arena spent our money on a painting. Arena. Zenobia, that wasn't just a painting, it had the Lord Jesus on it and the man said that it is extremely important for me to have it. Issei. Arena, you do know that there are scammers everywhere on this planet, right? Arena. But, Issei. Nope, I am not listening to that, you and Zenobia are staying at my home and that's final. Arena then jumps on Issei hugging him. Arena. Finally, we don't have to sleep on cold concrete floors anymore, thank you Issei. Issei then said bye to Kibba and Kaneko and himself, Asia and TCG. The church girls had went over to his Durango and went back to his mansion. Once they reached the mansion, Arena and Zenobia were amazed at how big his house is. Arena. Issei, what do you do to get such a big house? Issei. Racing, and there is a picture of my pro league there. Issei. And before you ask, the prize was $1.000.000 after I win the tournament, and that's how I became rich, and before I was racing, Optimus here helped me find gold, diamonds and other jewels and riches from the ocean and temples, and I'll show you to your rooms. He was cut off when he heard roaring from the training area that was in the surprise chapter when Leo Breaker and Wing Saber were fighting and swords clashing with metal. Asia. I'll go start cooking now. Irina, Issei and Zenobia went to the building of where the source of the noise was at and saw what shocked them. They saw a 12 meters tall golden lion fighting a robot with 2 swords, and they both shouted cyber key power. And the training area was barren, and a red light and green light shone and saw the same thing that shot into Issei's gauntlet, but they were different. Leo Breaker roared and his golden claws were out. Wing Sabers, and the cockpit on his back opened up and shot a red beam towards Leo Breaker. But his claws cut through the beam, and he then bit Wing Saber, and it indicated the end of the fight. Irina and Zenobia were now gripping onto Issei, and they let go when they realized what they did, but Issei chuckled at them. Issei. Now I'd like you to meet Leo Breaker and Wing Saber. Leo Breaker began walking to Irina and sniffed her, and she put her hand scratching his chin, and he then began to rub himself on her, but it was just giving her a few marks on her cheek, but she just ignored the pain, and he went to Zenobia and she did the same. Leo Breaker. Okay, I trust you too. Irina. You can talk. Leo Breaker. Well, is there something wrong your first time seeing a lion talking to you? Irina. Well, yes, and I've always liked the cat family, so yeah. Leo Breaker. Okay, then in a golden light he transformed into his cat form. Leo Breaker. Better. Irina and surprisingly Zenobia had stars in their eyes and began hugging him, and he liked it. Wing Saber. I didn't get to introduce myself. I'm Wing Saber, Issei's friend. Nice to meet you. Irina and Zenobia. Irina and Zenobia. It's good to meet you too. Issei. Now that introductions are out the window, let's eat. Asia. Dinner's ready, she shouted from the kitchen, and when they made it to the table Irina and Zenovia's mouths were watering. Issei. Well, what are you waiting for? Eat up. Irina and Zenobia were in heaven as they ate the food. Issei. Irina. Irina. Yes, Issei. Issei. Why do your suits look so skin tight? Irina. These are our combat gear that the church gave us. Why? Issei. Yeah, those things make that ass of yours look good, but the person that made these was a perv in the church. Irina. Blushing. Issei. Why do talk about our bodies at the dinner table? We can talk about that later, not now. Issei. Oh sorry, but this weekend Asia will be getting you and Zenobia new clothes and combat gear, agreed Asia. Asia. Yes, Issei, she said with a smile that looked cute. Issei. But after this we are going to talk about why you guys are here. Irina. Okay, Issei. Small time skip. Issei, Irina and Zenobia are in the lounge. Issei. So what you guys said at the clubroom today is that the church sends amateurs to defeat that cadre class fallen angel. Irina. Well, we aren't amateurs, Issei. Issei. It's just that they send you guys to kill someone who was in the Great War, and what do you say your chances are at defeating him? Am I clear on what I said? Irina. Well, when you say it like that it does sound like an idiotic plan. Issei. Okay, well we better be prepared for this thing with him. Irina. Okay, well we'll be heading to bed, see ya. Zenobia. Good night, Issei. Issei. Well, Optimus, Galvatron, what do you think? Optimus. Well, if we are dealing with this then we should be having Leo Breaker and Wing Saber for assistance with this when things get a bit messy. Galvatron. Well, when that day comes we will be able to defeat him since our powers are above those top 2 beings in power, and I get the feeling the WDE will be there, so yeah, and this time I'll be able to see what power that dragon has, and this time I will burn those wings, this time and badly. Issei. Well, I'm gonna sleep on it. Night. Both. Night, partner. Chapter 19. Issei woke up and saw Rias naked with Asia following suit, and he did the same routine in the mornings, and they went to school with the same car. They arrived and they went to classes. Time skip. Break time. Issei was walking with Kiba and Kaneko when they saw Irina and Zenobia standing outside wearing their white robes, and they went to a restaurant with the church duo, and we're discussing a plan. Issei. Okay, Zenobia. Irina, what is this about? Irina. Well, Issei, this is about finding the other fragments in Kuo, and we're looking for help in this. Kiba. So do you plan on destroying them or just taking them to the church? Zenobia. We will be finding them and tonight we will be disguised in pastor's clothes and will go into groups. Issei. So we will just be walking around until we sense their energy and report it to each other and regroup. Irina. Yes, and here is our number so you can contact us. She gives him her number, and they and Zenobia and Irina went back to Issei's mansion, and they went back to school and did not say anything about their plan to Rias. Time skip. After school. Issei. Asia, can you drive Rias back? I just have to do something. Okay. Asia. Okay, see you back at home. She waved and drove Rias back to his mansion. Issei takes out his phone and messaged Kiba and Kaneko, and they all met at the middle of Kuo. Zenobia gave Issei, Kiba and Kaneko hoods to wear that were brown and began walking, and Zenobia got closer to Issei. Zenobia. Issei, there is something that I have to warn you about. Issei. What is it? Zenobia. The WDE has awakened and is coming to Kuo. Issei. I already knew about him and I'll be waiting for him. Zenobia. Okay, I just wanted to let you know. They began walking and Zenobia and Irina spread away from the three, and the three went to a place that Kiba and Kaneko saw a building where they slay stray. Issei. Stop, I can sense something. He takes out the power piercer in his right hand. Well, look at the shitty devils who decided to visit me. Issei recognized that voice and immediately got angry. Issei. How are you even here? I killed you. Well, you can't get rid of this hexy guy named Fried Selzen, and I see Prince Charming and a midget. Kaneko got a tick mark on her head and she uprooted a tree and threw it at the building where Fried was, but he was already gone, and Kiba saw a flash of gold heading to Kaneko and took out Galvatron's darkness blade and saw Fried holding a sword that Kiba recognized. He pushed Fried away and made him hit a building with a lot of force. Kiba. That's the holy sword Excalibur. Rapidly. Kaneko. Thanks. Kiba and Kaneko then left in fast speed to hit Fried. Got a hard hit to his ribs and it made him spit out blood, and he jumped on top of the building and was asking why the sword wasn't working, and they heard the voice of an old man. Fried, you should put your energy into the sword and you'll be faster. Fried. Okay, sir. Fried began channeling his energy into the sword and was surrounded in a golden aura and went for Kiba, but Issei put his sword against the blade that Fried was holding and he pushed him back and summoned the dividing gear of destruction, and Galvatron shouted divide and divided Fried's power by a hole, and then the old man summoned a magic circle and he left with Fried's body. Kiba. Valper Galilei, I will have my revenge. Kiba shouted and began to cry, but Issei and Kaneko helped him back up and after a few minutes he stopped. Issei. Kiba, when we find that bastard Valpit we will both kill him, he said to Kiba, and he smiled and bro hugged Issei, and they heard a familiar voice. Riaz. Well, I wonder what happened here. Riaz had appeared with a keno holding her face in her left hand. Issei. Well, what happened here was that we found out who has the Excalibur pieces and we went to go and see where they were, and you don't have to punish them. They followed me when I was going to do this alone and I had no choice, so I'll be the one to be punished. I'm sorry for not listening to you. He bowed to Riaz and she let it slide since it had a good reason. They went home and saw that Irina and Zenobia were in the lounge. Riaz. Issei, why are the two girls here? Issei. I offered them a place to stay since they didn't have any money. Riaz. Okay, but you should have at least told me. Irina. Issei, why is that devil here? Issei. She moved in with me a month ago and because since I'm a nice guy I let her stay here. Irina. Okay, and isn't it Saturday tomorrow? Issei. Yes, and Riaz and Asia will help you guys get some clothes. Riaz was gonna complain, but she just left it as she was doing this only for him and nothing else. Riaz. Fine, and you owe me a date on Sunday, is that a deal? Issei. Deal. They all ate food and went to bed, and Issei could sense that he will be gone for a long time, since women are picky with their choices. He went to sleep and was in the same mindscape as before with Optimus and Galvatron on their respective thrones, and Optimus stood up. Optimus. The time is almost here when that dragon comes to this town, and we should ensure that this event of the swords are complete and done quickly as we are ready for that day. Galvatron. Yes, Prime is right, and when that time comes we will be prepared, and you should tell the redhead that she and that sadistic black-haired girl are trained by Surziches, and that fallen angel Barakiel trained them without any mercy. Issei. Sure thing, Optimus and Galvatron, and I promise to be much stronger and be the ultimate being that reigns over supremacy and destruction, he said with pride. Galvatron. You really are the puny version of me, and you better tell that to your enemies that we are the not to be messed with. Optimus. Yes, and that we should set things straight, and for the fight with Kakabiel, we should be able to defeat him easily and erase him from creating war with the factions, and if we are to kill the supernatural world, then so be it. Issei. Yes, Commander and Emperor, I will do my best. Then the link was cut off, and when he woke up he saw that the girls were not in his bed, and he freshened up and dressed in his combat gear with Jordan 1s. Issei. Well, anything for these women, as he grabbed his wallet and left with the girls. Chapter 20. Issei and the four girls came back from a long shopping spree and he began to relax on the couch, but when he got home he felt a high energy arising and it came from the school. Issei. Riaz. Issei, what's going on? Issei. I felt a high energy signature when we arrived. When Riaz was gonna ask, she heard her phone ring and she took it out and answers the call. Riaz. Sona, what happened? Sona. Riaz, get everyone from your peerage and Issei and his gang to the school immediately, we have a big problem. Riaz. Okay, we'll be there. Sona drops the call and Riaz turns to Issei and saw that he was already in his combat gear and Leobreaker and Wingsaber were there as well. Issei. It's time to go, Riaz, you guys fly ahead and take Asia with you. Riaz. Right, let's go, Asia. And they left to go to the school. Issei. Wanna do it? Both. You know it. All three were outside their homes and they shouted. All three. Transform. Leobreaker was in his S-Lion form, and Wingsaber was in his jet mode. And they were off as Leobreaker was running on top of buildings, and Wingsaber and Issei in Galvatron's jet mode were flying at Mk1. They arrived at the school and saw a big blue barrier around it, and saw the students' council with their hands forward. Issei, Wingsaber and Leobreaker transforms into bot mode and fly to Sona's level to speaks to her. Issei Galvatron. Sona, can you hear me? The student council turned their heads to see three bots talking to her, and she recognized Issei's voice. Sona. Issei, what are you doing here? Issei Galvatron. We came to help you guys, so can you let us in? She made a big enough hole in the barrier to make the three bots go through. Issei and his team land on the ground, and Leobreaker transforms into his beast mode, and the three began walking and saw Arias with her peerage. Issei. So what do you got? Irina and Zenobia came by, and Irina didn't have her sword. Issei. Irina, what happened to your sword? As she was going to say something, they saw Fried and Valper, and Kiba and Issei had the looks of anger present on their faces as the others backed away from the two, as Kiba had a blood red aura and Issei had a dark purple aura surrounding them, and Issei had his gear boosted gear on his left arm and his hair changed to red with red tips and their auras. Kiba, Issei Optimus. Don't even try, and he summons the sword of judgment in his left hand. Kiba summons Galvatron's blade in his right as the two stare down the two humans. Kiba demon voice. Yeah, so don't, or we will have to eliminate you in less than a minute. And Fried, being an idiot, went to shoot them. Marias and her peerage were shouting for them to move, and as Fried shot a bullet and Kiba went in front of Issei, and the blade of dark energy sliced the holy bullet in half, and Issei went and boosted his power and punched Fried with a heavy haymaker, and it made him unconscious. Valper. It's finally done, now Fried take the sword. He was cut off when he saw Fried unconscious on the ground and saw two beings that put fear into his mind as he saw a familiar face. Valper. It's you, the runaway experiment. As he was about to finish, Kiba put the blade of pulsing dark energy to Valper's throat. Kiba demon voice. Yes, it is me, the only survivor of your experiment and the person who killed my friends, and you will pay for what you did. As he was going to slash the fat priest, Issei saw a light spear heading towards Kiba. Issei Galvatron. Kiba moved now when Kiba heard as he snapped back into reality and dodged an incoming spear that exploded on contact, and when Ria's peerage could see what happened, they heard laughter in the sky. Well, looks like I will have to finish this. Issei and Kiba looked up and saw Ria's. Cacabial. Ah, that hair, it belongs to the Gremory family, such beauty. Ria's. Tell me what you are here for and not just to look at me. Cacabial. What I have come for is to have war back again in this world. Ria's. Why would you ever want to start another war? Cacabial. It's simple, really. I have gotten bored ever since Azazel pulled away from the war because of his obsession over sacred gears are annoying to me, and I want to fight those two bots that interrupted such a glorious war. Issei Optimus. You're looking at one of them. And Cacabial heard and shout Optimus Prime super mode, and Issei was in super mode and he looked at Cacabial with an angered tone. Cacabial. Ha, well, looks like I finally get to see the Autobot Supreme Commander in front of my eyes again after so long. Optimus. And who would have known that blackbird like you still looks the same after 500 years. Cacabial. Gremory, hope that you can give me a good fight, and he summoned 3 hounds with 3 heads. Rias. The Cerberus, the watchdogs of Hades are here. How? Leobreaker immediately started death staring at on one of the hellhounds, and it tried to bite Leobreaker, but he was too fast, and he bit the neck of the hound, and it immediately started howling in pain, as Leobreaker's jaws were making the hound feel pain, and he bit harder, and everyone including Cacabial heard the crack of bones, and the other two were looking as their brother other hound was dead. And as Leobreaker was walking to the two, one of them looked to Asia and ran to eat her, but Zenobia came sliced the dog in half, and the others were also fighting the last one, as they were done in 10 minutes, because it would have taken longer if it wasn't for Kiba and Galvatron's blade and Kaneko's incredible speed. Strength and senses had made it quicker to do it, and looked to the sky and saw Issei in super mode and Cacabial with his 10 black wings out. Cacabial struck first and tried to cut Issei by the chest, but he moved faster, and Cacabial missed as he didn't know that something so big could dodge that. Cacabial. Now boy, give me a real fight, shall we? As he summoned 2 holy light swords, and Issei had both the sword of judgment and power piercer in his hands, and the two engaged into battle. Issei versus Cacabial. Issei Optimus. Why don't you surrender now or never see tomorrow? And he gets hold of his cannons on his side and points them to Cacabial. Cacabial. Well, why don't we start, or are you too much of a coward? As he summons multiple light spears in the air and directed them to Issei in his super mode. Issei Optimus. So you won't surrender, oh well. He blasts them and Cacabial starts flying towards him at speed that the others on the ground can't see, and he summons a light sword in his hands and goes for a vertical slash, but Issei just punches the sword and makes Cacabial fly far, but he stops himself from falling, and he sees that Issei is not there, but he hears. Issei Optimus. Look up. He looks up and sees Issei with the sword of judgment and slashes the sword down and it hits Kakabiel and he summons a barrier around himself but he ended up on the ground with a big amount of pain and he tries to get up but Issei comes out of super mode and puts the human-length sword of judgment to Kakabiel's throat. Issei. Do you surrender or choose to die now? Kakabiel smirks as he sends many other light spears to Rias and her peerage and Issei shouts. Issei. Lightning. And he shoots out a bolt of lightning from his left gauntlet to the spears and they get incinerated by the heat of the lightning bolt. While Issei and Kakabiel were fighting, Fried got up and began going for Kiba with many slashes as he dodges them all and Zenobia joins in and they are able to hold him back and knock him out as they both slashed him down his chest and then when Kiba was going for Valper, the fat priest threw out a crystal saying that he didn't need it and when Kiba saw the crystal he stopped and catched it in his hand and Zenobia says that it's a crystal that has the other experimented kids in it and he began to cry as he held it and silhouettes of children formed around him and they said too that it was a good choice for him to run away and they disappeared as the crystal went into his body and he shouted balance break as his sword changed shape and had two different types of energies and Valper got scared and said that it is impossible for devil and holy energy to mix and was gonna say that he must be dead but Kakabiel shoots a spear into his heart and he falls. Kakabiel. Oh no, you can't be giving that secret out now, we can't let them know that they have lost their savior. Oops. Zenobia. What do you mean by that? He began laughing and she starts to get angry. Zenobia. I said answer me, what do you mean by that? Kakabiel. Oh well, there's no need to hide it, he grins wide and shouted the 4 devil kings as well as God died in the Great War. Everyone except Issei, Asia, Leobreaker and Wingsaber were shocked to the core when they heard what Kakabiel said. Rias. That's not possible, you're lying. Zenobia. Then who has been giving the divine blessings in the world? Kakabiel. It seems that Michael has been doing a good job, hahaha. Zenobia. Shocked face with fear and drops to the ground, so Michael is acting as God's agent. She looks to Arena and sees that she has lost conscious and then looks to Asia and she has tears in her eyes. How are you not shocked? Asia. Optimus and Galvatron have already told us, as she fell to her knees and cried more. She looks to Issei. Zenobia. So you knew this? Issei. Yes, and when I told Asia she also did the same as Arena and the reason why God died was because of injuries from the other two factions and sealing Optimus and Galvatron with the Devil Kings as when they went back to their territory and they died as they made it to the underworld, he finished. But Kakabiel was laughing loud as he started summoning a huge light spears and shot it to them and Issei runs and jumps to the spear and summons the dividing gear of destruction and Galvatron shouted divide as small purple waves come out from his gauntlet and it decreased in size as Kakabiel was now starting to feel exhausted from putting his energy into that spear that he even tries to hit Asia with a spear and it flies to her direction and Issei couldn't react fast enough as the spear was going closer. Leobreaker jumped in front of her in his bot form and used his tail as a whip and it got dismissed and he leaned down to Asia. Leobreaker. Asia, are you alright? Asia. Yes thank you Leobreaker. And she hugs him and she lets go as she heard him growling at D. He transformed into his lion form and looked to Kakabiel angrily and a green aura was surrounding him and he shouted. Leobreaker. Force ship. Ignition. The land turned barren and his aura shot into the sky and it warped as a green light shone blinding the others and the cyber key shot into his right paw and his claws were out and he jumped up in the air faster than anyone could see and he slashed 2 of Kakabiel's wings and bit him hard on his leg, ripping it off as he screamed in pain and Issei also felt angry and he used the sword of judgment and also slashed his other 2 wings and left the other 8 and he fell to the ground and as they were going to finish them, a bright blue flash shattered the barrier and when he saw Sona and her peerage falling he told Wingsaber to save them as he flew quickly to them and he caught them and he put them down on the ground and flew back and when he landed next to Issei and Leobreaker and as the figure landed and the smoke cleared, Issei saw 2 familiar wings. Don't Azazel needs him alive, the figure said holding Kakabiel and Fried on his shoulders and as he was about to leave. Galvatron. Well look who it is and after so long you don't even recognize me Albion. The mysterious figure turns around and his wings glowed blue and a voice spoke. Albion. You will pay for what you did to my wings. Albion, who is this thing you are talking about? Albion. I will tell you later Volley, for now we must leave or else I will lose my mind. Volley. Sure, and you? Issei. Who, me? Volley. Yes, and I look forward to our fight later. And he flew at rocket speed and left the group. Issei walks over to Arena and he picks her up and he saw Zenobia talking to Rias and when all that is done Sona's peerage begin using magic to repair the school and when they are done she goes to Rias and whispers something and she nods and after all of that they go home and when Issei and them arrive, Asia ran in before them and when they went back in they saw her in an apron but with nothing else on her body and he asked why she is wearing it like that and she said that Kiryuika from their class told her that it makes a boy happy and Ria's had a jealous expression on her face and ran to a room and came out of it with doing the same as Asia, and when Issei saw her he had a nosebleed and ran to his room, and after he stopped the bleeding he saw that Asia and Ria's are cooking, and when Leo Breaker and Wingsaber came in they spat out whatever drink they were having, as they saw Asia and Ria's naked, but with aprons covering their breasts and lower region, and they asked why and Issei couldn't answer them, as he was staring at them when they both turned around, and their breasts hit each other, and they laughed as he had to be hit by Wingsaber, and it left a small bump as he touched it in pain, and after they calmed down they all ate and went to bed. Somewhere else. Ollie. Well, he is strong, but not as strong as us three, right, Albion? Albion. Yes, and I will be sure to kill him this time, and you too, Drake. After Albion says that a green light glowed and revealed a red gauntlet appears on Volley's left arm. Drake. Yes, Albion, and that Optimus Prime will pay for what he has done to me, and his host will die at our claws. All three of them laughed and cursed Issei as they were now bloodlusted and wanted Issei dead. Now things will be getting serious now. The fight of the Autobot Commander of Supremacy and the Decepticon Emperor of Destruction versus the White Dragon Emperor of Supremacy and the Red Dragon Emperor of Domination. Chapter 22. After the fight, Zenobia was collecting the Excalibur pieces and went back home with Issei with Arena in his arms, Asia, Rias and his crew back home, and the next morning the three left for school and went to class. Time skip. After school, Rias called Issei and Asia to the ORC, and when they had settled in, Rias began talking. Rias. The reason why I have called you here is because we have a new peerage member. Issei. Who is it? Zenobia. It's me. Issei and Asia turned around and saw Zenobia in school uniform. Issei. Wait, so you're a devil now, why? Zenobia. Well, after the news of God being dead I served no purpose, and I decided to join her peerage, and two devil wings popped out her back. Rias. And she is my second knight. Zenobia. I sure hope I made the right decision, oh Lord please Forgy. She held her head in pain when she said a prayer. Rias. The thing is that being a devil is that you won't be able to pray anymore. Zenobia. Right. Rias gets a call on her phone and answers it. Rias. Fine, okay Sona, see ya. And she drops the call. Rias. Tomorrow all of us are going to be cleaning the school pool. Issei. What, why? Rias. Because of what you, Kakabiel and the WDE did, and yesterday she asked for a favor since she repaired the school and we didn't. Issei. Ugh, fine. Hey Kiba, wanna cruise with me somewhere? Kiba. Alright, see you guys tomorrow. And when they left the girls had mischievous smiles on their faces, and Zenobia looked at them and she just left. Rias, Akeno, Asia and Kaneko. Hboyyy. With Kiba and Issei. As Kiba was talking with Issei he saw a crate in the schoolyard. Kiba. Where did that come from, Issei? Issei. Hey Kiba, I got you something. Kiba. Okay. Kiba was curious and Issei told him to cover his eyes and ears, and Issei went into the crate, and when Issei told Kiba to look, he saw some eyes looking at him. Kiba. What is that? Issei. It's your car, man. Kiba was surprised when Issei said that. Kiba. But what did I do for this and what car is it? As Issei came out, Kiba was even more shocked as he saw his dream car, which is one of my dream cars, a 1999 BMW M3. And Issei went past Kiba and he heard a loud wee sound and Issei drifted around him and he stopped and came out. Issei. Here your keys, and he threw them to Kiba and he went and bro hugged the guy. Kiba. Thanks man, and you still didn't answer my question, why though? Issei. Remember the day I said that after your training I would throw in a car and they parted from the bro hug? Kiba. Oh yeah, I remember. Issei. Kiba, you know that Tsubaki has been looking at you differently. Kiba. Wait, she has, when? Issei. After the fight with Kakabiel, she has been looking at you with small blushes and has been getting jealous when the girls of the school look and talk to you. Kiba. How have I not noticed that, so what should I do? Issei. After this thing with the pool you should invite her and then talk to her. Kiba. Okay thanks man. He gets in the car and leaves Issei to himself. Issei. Inhales and exhales. God, I think that tomorrow these girls will be dressing in other kind swimsuits, well better prepare my nose. And when he was walking he got a message from Daisuke and it said that he should join them for karaoke and he just accepted it as he hasn't got to hang out with them for long. When he arrives at the karaoke place he sees that Aika, Kiryu, Daisuke were there and they had their fun singing and dancing when Issei got a notification from his phone and he excused himself from the room. As he opened his phone face was shocked as he saw 4 pics of the ORC with bikinis on. Issei. Yes, why are these women so hottt? And when Daisuke asked why he was screaming and Issei said that it was nothing and they're fun, and he went back home and saw that Zenobia was in the lounge writhing something and he went over to her. Issei. Hey Zenobia. She turned and saw Issei. Zenobia. Oh hey Issei. Issei. What happened to Arena? I haven't seen her since yesterday. Zenobia. She left after I gave her the pieces of Excalibur and she left Japan. Issei. Well then what are you doing there? Zenobia. Oh no, I'm just learning kanji because I don't know it properly. Issei sat next to her and he taught her how to read, write and pronounce kanji. Zenobia mind, why when I look at him I just lose focus and when he shakes me and looks at me I just blush at him, why? As Issei was reading he saw Zenobia asleep on him smiling and hugging his arm, and he smiled and he closed the book and lifted her up princess style and took her upstairs and set her asleep. Wingsaber. You do know that she is starting to like you now, Issei. Oh, Wingsaber didn't see ya, and yeah, I already saw it in her eyes when she was losing focus. Wingsaber smiled and patted Issei on the back and left the room, and Issei went downstairs, and Asia and Riaz came with bags of things, and they all ate and went to sleep. The next morning, Saturday, Issei woke to the usual routine, and he did his morning routine, and they ate and Issei and the three girls went to the door and the ORC were waiting for them, and when they arrived at the school pool, it was just green shitty ass water. Riaz. Okay everyone, let's get to cleaning now, and then after we clean it, it's all ours. Everyone. Alright. And they began cleaning it, and when they were done they all changed and we're at the pool. And when Issei came out the girls were looking at his six-pack abs and were knocked out of their daze, and when Akeno was gonna fill the water, Issei interrupted her and said that he was going to fill the pool, and he summoned the water cannon on his left arm and the cannon shot out water and it filled up the pool as they all jumped in except Kaneko. Asia. Kaneko, why aren't you in the pool? Kaneko. Because I can't swim. Riaz. Issei, could you teach her? Issei. Okay Kaneko, you ready? She nods and gets into the water slowly, and he laid her on her stomach and began telling her that she should control her breathing, float, coordinate her arms and legs, stroking and kicking, and she got the hang of it, and when they were done she and Issei hit the end of the pool wall, and she held onto him, and he grabbed her accidentally by her ass, and he thought he would have been punched by her, but she just looked up to him and said how nice he was and what he has done, and then he heard Riaz call him, and he came out of the pool, and she asked to rub her back with oil in her back and he did, but now Akeno also wanted him to do it to her. But Riaz got jealous and started shouting at Akeno, and they began fighting, throwing their magical attacks at each other, and Asia and Kaneko take cover, and Issei went to go check on Zenobia, and she came out in a swimsuit, and she asked Issei to follow her, and they were in a room with pool supplies, and she throws him onto the floor, and she walks to him and sits on his crotch. Issei. Zenobia, what are you doing? Zenobia. I wanted to ask you to make babies with me, now. Issei. Wait, what, why? Zenobia. Well, after God had died I had no business of being in a church, so I want to be a mother of strong children, so please. And she began to untie her bra, and she was interrupted when Riaz and the other girls came in. Riaz. Issei, where are you? What are you doing, Issei? Issei. No, we weren't doing anything, Riaz, I promise. Akeno. Ara, no, that's not fair, I will be the one to take his virginity. Riaz. No, it's me and not any of you. Zenobia. What did we do? We were just going to make a baby. The girls gasped and Riaz told everyone to go back to the clubroom, and when they went out they saw Tsubaki and Kiba in the pool playing together, and Riaz just left them to their thing. In the ORC clubroom. Riaz. You can't just be doing that, you know. Issei. Yes, but I just went to go check on her, and she just threw me in the room, and that's what happened. Well, isn't this funny to see? A red magic circle appeared on the floor, and two devils came out, they were Surziches and Grafia. Riaz. Brother, what are you? Surziches. We are here for open house, my little sister. Riaz. Oh no. The meeting of the three factions are arriving soon, and that fight will be coming, and another harem chapter will be out tomorrow. Chapter 23. Location. Kuo Academy. Riaz. What do you mean you have work in the underworld? You can't be here. Surziches. This counts as work and we came here because we are here to inspect the place because the meeting will be here. Riaz. What? Why? Surziches. And also I wanted to ask if Issei will be coming. He looks to Issei. Issei. Oh yes, sure, I'll come and I will be bringing my friends to the meeting, and what time will this meeting be? Surziches. Oh yeah, it will be at 2200 hours tomorrow, is it alright with you? Issei. Yes, it's fine, see you there. Surziches. Okay, and thank you for helping my sister with Kakabiel, and also I heard that she has the wielder of Durandal is here. Zenobia. That would be me, Devil King, she bowed to him. Surziches. It's fine, you don't have to bow and see your ears, and he walks away with Grafia. Riaz. Well, you guys can go to class. Everyone. Sure. In class. Teacher. Okay everyone, what you have in front of you is clay and use your imagination to make it into anything. Issei mind, okay, what should I make? And as he was thinking he thought of Riaz, but then he shook his head and thought of something else. Teacher. Wow, Issei, we didn't that you were so artistic. Issei. Well, thanks. The girls had gathered around to look at the model and looked beautiful that they even started an auction, and he ran out the class. Riaz. It's very well made, thanks Issei. Akeno. It has very good details, maybe you can do me next, and I'll let you have every detail of my body. Riaz. Can you please stop, Akeno? There's a girl wearing a magical girl outfit in the gymnasium. Riaz. No, it can't be. Akeno. Maybe it is. Issei. Who? In the gymnasium. There are camera flashes in the gymnasium, and Issei saw a woman in a pink outfit on the stage, and he knew who it was. Saji. Can you guys please leave now or else? Ugh, such an ass. Saji. Ma'am, it is not right to wear that kind of clothes on school premises, and do you have anyone you are visiting? I'm here to see my sister today. Riaz. Seraphol, how are you? Seraphol. Arias, how are you? Riaz. I'm fine. Issei, this is Issei. Seraphol, Leviathan, second Devil King, the name is Isseihyoudou. Seraphol. Oh, so you're the wielder of Optimus Prime and Galvatron, cool, and call me Leviathan. Issei. Nah, I think Sarah will do. Seraphol. Oh, thanks, Issei. And she jumped and kissed your cheek. Issei. Thanks. Sona. What is all that noise here? Seraphol. So Tan, I missed you so much. Sona. What are you doing here, sister? Seraphol. I came here to see my sister at her school, that's all. Sona. Why do you have to embarrass me like this? And she ran out crying with Seraphol running after her. Issei. Well, is that how all of them are? Riaz. Yes and no. Issei. Okay. In the main school building. As Issei was walking, he saw Surziches and a man that looks like him with a goatee and a woman with brown hair and purple eyes. Arias, my darling, how are you? Riaz. I'm doing well, father and mother. And Issei. This is my father Zeodicus Gremory and my mother Vanellina Gremory. Issei. Oh well, nice to meet you, Zeodicus and Vanellina. Zeodicus. Nice to see the man who saved my daughter from a marriage she didn't want. Vanellina. Same from me, thank you. Issei. Oh no, it's alright, I did what I could do. Zeodicus. Yes, and you such an amazing power that it feels stronger than my son's. Surziches. What was that about me, father? Surziches and Graphia came to the group. Zeodicus. Oh well, we were just talking to Issei about his power. Surziches. I could hear you, and yeah, it's true. Issei. Hey, would you like to come to my place? Zeodicus. Well, thank you, boy, we would love that. Issei. Okay, see y'all after school. As they were walking. Riaz. Issei, why did you have to invite them? Issei. I just thought that it would be nice since they came here to see you and Sona. Riaz. Fine, but you owe me something for this. Issei. Anything you want, beautiful. Riaz blushed as they went to their classes. After school, the Gremory family and peerage were at the back of the ORC building, and Issei took out the Sword of Judgment and did a slash on the wall, and a green cut was seen. They were all surprised as they saw this. Issei. It's still not stable. He gripped his chest and the chest of Optimus transformed on his chest, and the matrix of leadership floated out of his chest, and the rift widened. Issei. Okay, let's go to my home. They all walked through. The Gremory family except Graphia and her peerage were surprised at how big his house was. Zeodicus. What kind of work do you do, Issei? Issei. I'm a racer. Vanellina. But how does racing make you this much money? Issei. I'll show you. And he stepped away from them and they were confused. Issei. Transform, and he was Galvatron's bot mode, and they could feel more power than Optimus's from looking at his red eyes. Issei. Transform. They were beyond surprised that you could transform into a vehicle and came to take a closer look. Issei. Galvatron. Pretty cool, huh? Surziches. This is quite surprising indeed. Issei. He transformed back into his human form. Issei. Yeah, come on, let's go inside. And as they went inside they saw pictures of Issei next to his cars in his garage and the lineup titled Pro League. Zeodicus. So this is what made you rich, I'm impressed. Issei. Why, thank you, please sit down. And they arrived to a table full of food and Asia placed down a platter with food on it. Asia. Everyone's here on lease, come eat. They all sat down and Leo Breaker and Wingsaber came in and they greeted Issei and Riaspirage. Issei. Well, aren't you two going to introduce yourselves? Both. Okay. Leo Breaker. The name is Leo Breaker Hyoudou. Wingsaber. And I'm Wingsaber Hyoudou, nice to meet you. Zeodicus. Why are your names like that? Issei. Oh, cause they are like me, a Cybertronian, they are able to transform as well but in different forms. Zeodicus. Okay, well, nice to meet you too. Issei. Well, let's eat. Everyone. Thank you very much. And they ate and it tasted wonderful to them, and when they finished Ria's parents left and Surziches said that he will be sleeping in Issei's room. Ria's. What, but why? Surziches. Don't worry, Ria's, he'll be fine with me and go to sleep. Ria's. But no, I have disease that makes me sick if I don't sleep with ice. Graphia. Come now, Ria's off to bed. Ria's. Graphia. Issei. Surziches. Well, my sister really loves you. Issei. Well, I can basically see that with all of them now. Surziches. Well, you're planning to have a harem, huh? Issei. Well, if it's like that then it's fine. Oh, and sorry for making you sleep on the floor. Surziches. Oh no, it's fine, this is actually quite nice being treated normally and not like the king of the underworld. Issei. Okay, well, good night. Surziches. Hey, Issei. Issei. And he turned to Surziches. Surziches. Will you protect my sister at her peerage? Issei. Of course I will, that are all important to me and they are all that I have left since my parents were killed, and if anyone tries they will feel my wrath. Surziches smiled to Issei. Surziches. Thank you, Issei, and good night. Issei. Sure. And he faded into slumber. Chapter 24. As Issei woke up he saw that Surziches was gone and went to check on him, but before he did that he freshened up and changed into his school uniform, and when he was going to the garage he saw Asia go outside and was talking with Zenobia, and Riaz was with Surziches and Graphia. Issei. Morning, Riaz. Good morning Issei. I'll be coming to school later because I'll be showing my brother and Grafie around town. Issei. Okay Shirasia, Zenobia let's go. And when they were walking they saw Kiba and Kaneko walking and they greeted each other and when they reached the school, they saw a young man with silver hair and they all knew who it was. Issei. What do you want here Vali? Vali. Well after if it isn't my rival. Issei. Ho so now I'm your rival since when? Vali. Since those two idiots killed the heavenly dragons and I'm here to see the place of the meeting myself. Alvatron. You had better watch that mouth of yours fleshling. Vali. Oh like I'm scared of a robot. And when Issei was about to say something Zenobia and Kiba put their blades crossing Vali's neck. Kiba. You better leave or else. Zenobia. Same here WD. Vali. Or what you couldn't even go against Kakabiel so don't try and push my buttons. Issei. Zenobia Kiba stand down. They moved and dismissed their blades and walked to Issei's sides. Issei. Listen here Vali I don't care about this rivalry and if you even dare and challenge me, I will make sure that you will suffer and his eyes glow red as the others and Vali felt an evil and destructive energy from Issei. Issei Galvatron. You had better watch yourself just because you got a dragon in you doesn't mean that you are all powerful and if you think of hurting anyone to piss me off I will end you and this time I will kill that dragon in you, you catch my drift. And he calmed his aura and his voice went back to normal. Vali. Fine big guy and I can also see that the Gremory heir is also here as well. He pointed behind Issei and Riaz was there with Akeno. Riaz. What are you doing here WDE? Vali. I just came here to see my rival in the meeting place, we'll see you guys tonight. He waved and left jumping in the air and those blue wings that Issei had now grown a hatred to and as Vali left Issei felt a little pressure on his arm and saw Riaz holding his hand. Issei. She must have been worried and I won't let that happen. And they all went to their classes. Time skip after school. As they were leaving Akeno told Issei to come with her after school and when he had arrived he saw her in her shrine maiden outfit waving at him. Issei. Akeno why are we here? Akeno. There is actually someone that wants to meet you. As he was going to ask her who he saw a golden light from the sky and when the light died down, he saw a handsome man with long blonde hair and green eyes wearing a red robe with a cross in the middle on top. Albert D has golden shoulder plates with a white sash and a golden halo on his head with 12 golden wings. As the man descended down he looked to Issei and Akeno. Akeno. Issei this is Lord Michael from heaven. Michael. I am Michael, I am the leader of the angels, I see, judging from this aura it is the commander of supremacy and the emperor of destruction. Issei. The name is Isseihyoudou nice to meet you Michael. As Michael was shaking his hand he felt a dark and evil energy from Issei and after the handshake Akeno brought them into the shrine and when they had settled in Issei was kneeling and Akeno came in with tea and she sat down and Michael began to speak. Michael. Isseihyoudou the reason I came here is to offer you a gift. Issei. What is this gift? And as he said that Michael had put his hands forward and a bright light was being emitted and when it cleared he saw a sword appear. Issei. A sword. Michael. Not just any sword this is Ascalon the dragon slaying sword. Issei. This feels similar to my sword of judgment. Michael. May I see what this sword looks like? Issei. Sure. And Issei put his hand forward a yellow light was being emitted and his sword was in his hand. When Michiel saw the sword he felt a similar energy but stronger than Ascalon itself. Michael. That sword it has a powerful energy coming from it. Issei. I have an idea why don't we fuse the swords together, Optimus is it possible? Optimus. It will work as long as Ascalon accepts this then yes. Issei. Okay let's start. Akeno and Michael were confused until Michael felt a holy energy coming from Issei and saw that the two swords were floating and Ascalon was emitting a blue aura and the sword of judgment had a red aura on it and they fused in a red and blue light, temporarily blinding Akeno and Michael and after the light died down, there was a new looking sword with a purple aura surrounding it. This had surprised Michael and Akeno as they saw something that he fused two swords which would have taken longer, but he did it less than a minute. Michael. Issei you had just done something that is supernaturally impossible. Issei. Oh this didn't even dent my energy a bit but this is the first time that I had done this. Akeno. Congrats Issei. Michael. I will be taking my leave see you soon Issei. Issei. At the meeting I want to ask you something. Michael. Sure and goodbye. He left in bright yellow flash and it disappeared. Akeno. Issei what will you now name that sword? Issei. Ascalon Judgment. Akeno. Good name. Issei. Well I'll be leaving. As he was about to stand up he felt a tuck on his shirt and saw Akeno holding his shirt. Issei. Akeno what's wrong? She pulled him down and kissed him and he was surprised and she let go after 5 seconds. Issei. Akeno what was that for? Akeno was crying and she held him tighter. Akeno crying, I say do you hate fallen? Issei. Well a bit why and she stopped crying and looked up to him. Akeno. Issei. What is it, you can tell me. Akeno stood up and walked to the middle of the room and she put her outfit down to the middle of her back and 2 wings sprouted from her back one was a devil wing and the other was a black wing that resembles an angel's one. Akeno. I'm a hybrid of a fallen angel and a devil, and my fallen side disgusts me. Issei. Why does it? Akeno. It happened when my mother, who was a shrine maiden at this shrine, and she saw a fallen angel injured and took him in to heal, and he was healing, they began to bond, and some time after I came in as their child, and they both loved me as their daughter, and one night when my father was gone, my mother and I were ambushed by people from the Himejima clan, and held a blade to my mother and called me an abomination, and when the man was going to slash me, my mother came in between and she was killed in front of my eyes, and I ran away from here. I was saved by Rias, and she asked me to be her queen, and gave me a home and family, and I never want to see my father again. She cried again and she felt two muscular arms wrap around her and saw what it was. Issei also with tears in his eyes, and she was feeling safe in his arms, and she cried a bit more until she slept in high arms with a smile as he smiled at her sleeping face and rubbed her head, and he stood up and lifted her in a princess carry and saw Rias standing by the door. Rias. So how did it go? Issei. It went smoothly and I got the sword. Rias. So what happened to Akeno? Issei. She was in emotional stress and told me about her past, and she fell asleep, and I would be taking her back to her home. Rias. Okay, let's go then. Issei followed her and they made it to the Durango AD. He began driving to the address that Rias gave him, and they entered Akeno's apartment, and he set her to sleep in her bed, and they went out the apartment, and Rias stopped. Issei. Rias, is there something wrong? Rias. Would you protect me and my peerage? Issei. Of course, you guys are the only people that I treat as a family, and no one will take that from me, and I promise that. Rias. What am I to you? Issei. You are Rias, a woman that is strong, caring and fearless of others, and would do anything in return for her friends. As I see it, you are the best woman I have seen in my life. When he said that, she had tears build up in her eyes, and she jumped on him and kissed him passionately, and he kissed her back, and after a few minutes she let go and held him by his neck, and he held her by her waist. Rias. Do you really mean that? Issei. Issei. Yes, I am, and I will not anyone harm any of you guys as long as I'm around. She giggled at him and she was asked him a question. Rias. Issei, do you remember when I said that you owe me something? Issei. Oh yeah, what about it? Rias. I want you to go on a date with me after the Saturday. Issei. Sure, anything for this princess. She blushed as he said that and she punched him in his chest playfully. Rias. You can't say that. Issei. So I should stop? Rias. No, it's alright. He laughed and he checked the time, and it was 1900 hours. Issei. I'll come back here later to pick up Akeno for the meeting, and let's get back home and eat cause I am hungry. Rias. Yeah, let's go. And they went home and were greeted with smiles from their housemates as they arrived and ate and waited until the right time. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.